welcome back to Here's Next Door. Thank you all for joining us for another Station Cribs. We're in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania. We're going to be taking a look at the Star Hose Company #1, Station #3. So let's go see what they have. So we're going to be meeting up with Zach. He's the firefighter that reached out to me and told me about this station. So we're going to talk to him. He's going to walk us through the whole station. Hey, Zach, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Mike.
Before we get started, tell our viewers who you are and what's your role here.
Okay, so my name's Zach Lennon. I'm a firefighter here, fairly new. One of the younger guys, so our main goal here is to try to spread hopefully awareness and get a few more members to join and just see what we got going on here.
Awesome. Now, driving up here, it's a very small kind of rural town, but very beautiful coming up. There's a long river that we came up. What river was that?
I think that either Allegheny or Susquehanna River.
Okay.
One of those two. Yeah, it flows most of this direction.
Yeah, you got a lot of little towns leading up to this, but once you kind of come in here, it's a booming little town.
Oh yeah, we have, our main draw is behind the fire hall here. We have a large glass plant that provides glass wine bottles and such, beer bottles, stuff like that, to a lot of your major wineries and stuff like that, Canandaigua, New York. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And your station is pretty much right in the center of town?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about the station to start with?
So, the original station here is just this small portion back when they started in the early or late 1800s. Then it's grown to where we have 5 apparatus, cover, I think we're the second largest grounds that we cover in this area of PA. A lot of different apparatus, a lot of different types of calls that we run just because we service such a large area.
Okay. Well, how many members do you have that are in the department?
Active members were between, I think, 40 and 50.
Okay, that's a pretty good amount. How many do you get to come out for actually calls?
Depends on the call. You got a EMS assist, we're between 5 and 10, big fire, car accidents, stuff like that. We'll have 20, maybe 30 guys. We typically load L5 out, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good to have. All right, so we're gonna actually come back to the engine bay. I see you're out washing your trucks, getting things ready, but we wanna walk through your house, and then we'll come back to the engine bay. So I'm gonna follow you.
Alrighty. So as we walk in, I'm gonna introduce you. This is my buddy, Curtis. He's another
Nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting us in.
So first thing I want to show you guys, we have our little hangout area.
Okay.
We'll come down here in the morning, drink a cup of coffee. Well, the older retired guys, not myself. But just kind of hangout spot, kind of see what's going on in the town square and just chill area. But the main piece over here is our Brotherhood Fund refrigerator pop machine. So the whole idea behind that, it's $1 for your Coke or Pepsi products, drinks. That goes into a fund for other members of the fire department, whether, God forbid, a firefighter get hurt or his, death in the family, injury, sickness. We'll send a small check or flowers or something to that member and their family as a small piece of, here, not much, but hopefully this helps you out. And
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a good way to keep people involved in the community, and you're giving back to the community.
Yeah.
It's awesome to have those kind of things. Not many firehouses do those kind of things for their own members, and that's a good way to do that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So this is the original firehouse.
Yes, this was one of the original pieces of the building. Another fun fact, all these glass blocks that you see here is from another glass plant which sits over there, which is now closed down, but that was Pittsburgh Corning Glass, and that was what they focused on, were these glass blocks. So you'll see these all around our building. Portions of Port Allegany are actually in the building itself. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's a nice little hangout area here. It's nice and cool. You can see across and see the town going on. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I'll follow you.
This next place we'll show you our radio communication room. Very small, but you miss the first or second going out apparatus. You get in here, get on the computer, radio, kind of keep track of our logs. It's where our mailboxes are, just small things. But this is nicer for a bigger call because we obviously have somebody that's here and able to, we have a lot of places, as I said earlier, a large area. Some places radio reception isn't the greatest, so you might be able to use the apparatus to link back to here and communicate with county. So it's a nice little.
Everybody's got to have a little washroom.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the command central of most fire departments. It lets people know where they're at, who's on the truck, and write your report when you get back.
Yeah, exactly.
Now behind you is a map here. Is this your kind of coverage area?
No, this is a larger area. Up like that's Bradford, Pennsylvania. Our area is over right here. So this is Port Allegany.
Okay.
And we'll cover clear out to the Turtle Point is in our district. So this line about here, that sloops down here to the county line and down through Liberty Township and there.
Okay.
Which is out towards Rowlett. That's our coverage area. So I mean, we have a very large
That is
area.
a big coverage area. About how many square miles, do you know, give or take? Not sure?
I'm not sure with that one.
How many calls do you do a year, give or take?
About 280 to 300.
That's
right
pretty
around
decent,
there.
Ron.
So,
Yeah.
for a small area.
All right, I'll follow you.
Alrighty. We have
Obviously, this is the engine bay. We
Yeah.
have a truck pulled out. We're going to come back and show the audience what's in these engine bays in a little bit.
Okay, so the next, that's under construction right now. We're
Okay.
kind of changing over to a lounge and also possibly in a phase of either upgrading our building or early stages of maybe looking to relocate, and the fact that our building is quite old and just, moving on to something bigger to fit.
Sure.
Obviously, today's apparatus nowadays are much longer, wider, so accommodate for those such things. And
Absolutely.
hopefully a new building draws younger members, so.
Yeah, and having a nice new crew room is going to be key to
Yeah.
bringing in some of those new members. One of the things that you want to also incorporate in those crew rooms is make sure you have the gaming systems, make sure you have the TVs, the
stuff
internet,
like
that
that.
kind of stuff. So this brings us right into the back of the bay, which is actually a kitchen.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is our part of our banquet system. Our membership banquets tonight, so I have my caterer here.
Okay.
He's getting food ready for tonight, so not to try to be in his way too much, but yeah, so we use this as our fundraising home for food events, as well as anybody can rent our hall and use the kitchen for something
So
like
like
that.
homeowners meetings or
Local-
bridal showers,
yeah.
baby showers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, local.
And it looks like it's a full commercial kitchen.
Oh,
you guys
absolutely.
got on
I mean,
here.
this is quite the setup. It's nothing to be ashamed of for a kitchen.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 3 convection ovens, a nice size fern flat top, and some air
All the
fryers.
accessories.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
But yeah, we'll sneak around here out to our banquet hall. We got some other members making desserts for tonight's banquet. They're in the corner. So.
Okay. So you have a banquet going on tonight. It's just
Yes.
your yearly banquet, or is it a special one?
Yes,
How long have you guys been in existence?
over 100 years, I believe, right, Curtis?
Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. I don't know how long they've been doing the annual banquet. This is my first year taking it over.
Okay.
So the room's not completely set for tonight. I don't know if we want to take a picture of that later.
Okay,
But yeah, so this is our banquet hall. It's quite large. We can fit for our sportsman's raffle, our cash bash raffle, stuff like that. We put 400 people in this room, another 200 out in that bay, and another 150 out in that bay. We have a lot of people that are, that come to these events.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing too crazy in here. If you want to, we can ponder over here. We have some old relics of
Right.
times past.
So when I was reading through your profile, I kind of Facebook stalked your company a little bit.
That's fine.
Did some research. I think you guys were incorporated in like 1886.
Okay, yeah.
With like 25 members, and that's kind of what got the thing started.
Yeah.
And one of your big fundraisers back then was actually doing bands, and you traveled around and competed for different things.
Mm-hmm.
I see the drum here. I'm assuming that's going to be part of that.
Yep. Yeah, that was part of it. We have some more at a different. One of our local banks actually has a mini museum for the fire department. A member of our department, she really took an interest in that, and she worked at the bank, and they have a little section with a lot of the older relics. This is kind of the leftover stuff that we use for the event. But yeah, we've got, like I said, older drum that was using that, a few of the cornets that we used.
Smoothbore nozzle.
Yeah,
the old kind.
That's what we still run today. So, yeah. Like I said, this is just our banquet hall. We have used it for whatever is needed. It's available to the public for rent.
Okay.
So,
do you guys do anything like regular, like bingo nights or anything like that?
we stopped doing bingo right around what was COVID, kind of put a kibosh to that, and never really
they did
picked
it in a
back
lot of
up.
companies.
Yeah.
I've been to 3 or 4 now that they've kind of quashed a lot of the things after COVID, and I'm hoping that with the recognition of you guys and these companies that we can kind of start that thing back up, because I think we're starting to lose a little bit of community when you don't bring them to your firehouse.
Yeah, and we're looking into doing stuff like that. Like I said, Curtis and I are part of the fundraiser committee. We're doing small things like hopefully in this month we're going to run just a car wash out front, just get community members down through, say hi, maybe once a month, doing stuff like that. We do online square site raffles all the time. Right now, we actually have a gun that's up for a Kimber 45 for raffle, and we've done other things like gas cards at Sheets and some more secrets along the way that I don't want to let out. But I've got some big ones planned.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the new segments that we're actually starting up here on Heroes Next Door. We're talking about what we consider the side hustles of fire companies, and how do you raise the finance to support something like this? Because apparatus nowadays is getting more and more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially since COVID. The price of materials going up, the price of fire trucks are going up, and it's a burden on the township and expenditure, and it's a burden on the fire company. So how do you go ahead and offset that cost?
Absolutely.
And having those side hustles that you're talking about is a perfect way to do that. All right, I'm going to follow you around. Obviously, this is getting set and ready to go. You got some family members here, and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
good to see.
I'll bring you by. We have, I don't know how old it is, but I know it's one of the first original, right, Curtis, helmets that we had. This one of the relics that are left, our original Star Hose, when they first came, that helmet with the small patch compared to what we have now.
Okay. Now, out front, I noticed that you are hose company number 1, but station 3. Are there more stations around?
Oh, yeah. So we're the only Star Hose company. That was the name before it was Port Allegany Fire Department, if I'm not mistaken, back from a while ago, like years before I was even an afterthought. But the Station 3 designation comes from McKean County. So instead of having a citywide dispatch, we are a countywide dispatch. So there's departments 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. So that's what we're designated as number 3. But we're Star Hose Company 1, Station 3.
All right, I get it. Yeah, everybody's got a little way to do that. Got some of your old trophies up here.
Oh, yeah, they're all over,
All right.
Next is engine bays.
So relatively speaking, other than the social hall here, you have a really kind of a smaller footprint for your fire company.
Oh, absolutely. We don't have much, but we do have, the best way.
So with that, you don't have any live-in programs. You don't have any people that come in and stay here on a regular basis. You guys respond from home. Is that correct?
Yep, responds from home. For the most part, we're chief officer, lieutenant, captain only for personal vehicles. They would like most of us to come to the hall, get on an apparatus, less traffic at a location. But for buddies like my friend Curtis here, like I showed you that town, Turtle Point, that's 7 miles from here. That's where he lives. So coming to a call, let's say, close to Rowlett, he's going to miss the first or second apparatus. So we have a few members that do live out that way that do respond POV.
So they just hold their gear, on their personal vehicle, make a response, or have them throw it on from here, right?
Yeah, but that is a special request that the chief officer does approve, or not everybody can just take the
It's a good way to cover. The key thing is to make sure you get enough personnel to take the trucks out. One of the things that we're struggling with across the country is having, volunteers. Over the last decade, I've been doing this almost 30 years now, I've noticed a decrease in volunteerism across the board, right?
Absolutely.
And, we have to figure out different ways to keep those volunteers that we have and allowing them to respond from home when they're on a longer distance. But you also want to make sure you're filling the trucks, because, going out as a single provider on a truck necessarily isn't the safest thing to do.
Not at all.
So, having a good policy of coming to the station, making sure the seats are filled, at least 3, is a good safe number. You like more than that, is a good way to do that.
No, yeah, absolutely. So, I did forget about a piece. I'll walk you guys in here.
Okay.
Just small little, this is our entranceway for non-members for the banquet hall and such like that. So we have a few different pictures. Our two main apparatus, our two just call signs is our new 2022 engine and the 2016 rescue. So these are actually the pictures Pierce gives you when they take the photo of the car.
Right.
And then that was our tribute for 9/11. Do you know the history behind this one, Curtis? That one, somebody did that, and then a member's wife painted this years ago, back when we...
That's nice.
Old style.
Yeah.
SCBAs and helmet.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of our little segue into the banquet hall versus the member entrance.
I really like the rescue. Maybe we can do a station rigs on that rescue in a little while.
I would love to do that.
All right, so you guys pay attention. Before we go on, do us a favor, hit subscribe, hit notification, so we can keep bringing you more. We're probably gonna do a station rigs on that rescue. So I have a real quick question for you before we kind of move on.
Yeah.
If I were in this area and I wanted to volunteer with you guys, how do I get a hold of you? Do you have a Facebook, Instagram? What do you guys have?
We have a company Facebook, which is also where we put our online raffles up for people to go see.
Right.
Word of mouth, stuff like that.
Okay.
Like I said, there's almost always somebody down here during the day. Just stop by and ask for an application.
How does that go about? Do you have to be already a firefighter to become a volunteer, or can you just show up and have no experience?
So I actually, personally, I moved here from New York. I met my wife, and this was kind of where we found it up, and Curtis and I were friends before, and I was like, yeah, I want to join the fire department.
Okay.
I had zero training. They covered everything from ground up. I went through my essentials program, interior firefighter. Actually tomorrow, starting vehicle rescue. Plan on taking Structure 1 at the State Academy this September. So,
okay.
And they cover everything.
They cover it all. So that, again, for those people that are in the area and you're thinking about how can I help out my community, becoming a volunteer fireman is a good way to do that. And you don't have to have the experience to do it. They're going to come in and they're going to teach you how to do it.
Absolutely. And there's been plenty of guys here that
right.
Take you under their wing.
But don't get me wrong, if you have experience, come help them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, so walking into we call it our rescue bay. It's where our utility and rescue trucks sit. This was the original footprint of the building. So where our other 3 apparatus are, we're in addition add-on, including the banquet hall. This is where, this rack here, and this is something that I personally think is great. This is our junior firemen. They kind of fill this area. We've got 6 of them.
Nice.
People that are under 18 years old. Actually, one of them actually, I think his locker's there, just turned 18, just got voted on as a full-time member, but that's something that we pride here.
How young can they be to join the fire company?
14 years old.
Okay.
So 14 to 16, there are a little more stricter regulations. 16 to 17, there's loosens up. Pennsylvania State just released a rule you can actually take interior at 17 years old now.
Okay.
But you can't be an interior firefighter until you're 18, but on your 18th birthday, you're good to go versus wait until you turn 18 and waiting for the cycle around for the next class. So it makes it a little easier. And that's also what's nice with our junior program. The local CTC, the VOTEC school, has a Homeland Security class that will offer Pennsylvania essentials all the way through hazmat operations. So all they have left to do is interior.
Right.
And that's available for any, I think, I don't know their footprint, but most of the county can take that class. So it's not just Star Hose Company, it's not just Port Allegheny,
right.
The surrounding area
now,
also
we did
has
a
that.
film. I don't know if you've seen much of our channel yet, but we did a film for one down Delaware County, Pennsylvania,
I saw parts
that did
of
a
that,
school.
yeah.
That's an awesome way to kind of reach out and get those next members because, we're not getting any younger. I'm not getting any younger, and eventually I'm going to age out and have to step off the truck. And we need those people to fill it. So starting at the age of 14, getting them some exposure, making sure it's what they like to do, they can do the job. That's a good way to do that. And the fact that you guys have 6 of them, my question for that, are they more family members or are they just randoms?
No, I don't think she is, I don't think actually directly family, but her family's been involved with the ambulance and the fire company.
Okay.
So she's kind of a legacy, but the rest of them are kind of new joins.
That's good to see because a lot of times, we do have a tradition of, bringing our family up. My daughters have been in EMS, they're not EMTs, but they went into healthcare because I did healthcare. Same thing, people go into fire because their dad or their mom did fire.
Absolutely.
But having that new generation coming in is that first generation is a good thing to see. I like that your lockers are outside the engine bay. You have plenty of hose and stacking there. And this houses 2 apparatus, right? The 2 that are sitting outside here?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then next to it is what?
So that's what we call our engine bay. We have both our pumpers and our tank truck.
Okay.
Mainly fire response.
All right, we'll make a quick entrance through there.
Okay. We'll flick the light on here.
You got more lockers out here.
Gear locker, and then some equipment's in the old lockers there, as well as down through here. This is mainly what the room is used for, is gear and apparatus. We don't really store much in here.
Now I noticed that you don't have the metal gear racks. You have actually, it looks like someone made this.
Absolutely.
Is this one of the projects that the fire department actually put on and to make those kind of things?
These were here pre my time. I think they are that was at the time the metal racks. I don't think
or even a thing back then.
So those were built. I know, like I mentioned earlier, we're started a new committee for a building project. So obviously upgrades and/or new building with the NFPA required, where you have to have the breathable racks and understand all that.
But this building, if I remember right, was actually updated and changed when you added this back in the 1980s or early 90s, I think it was. So they didn't have those kind of regulations back then.
No, and I'm pretty sure it was a lot of members that it wasn't a contractor. It was, hey, let's all get together and
that's
put
the way
this
it
together.
was done. You know, we're kind of the jack of all trades. You know, we have welders, we have electricians, we have woodworkers, and we all pitch into the community to help out fire companies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good thing to have. All right, so we are now in the apparatus bay, and we're going to walk our way across these. So let's start with this one behind you, and we'll work our way the other way.
So before we get started, I do want to point out we have a small maintenance area, and we do a lot of our own work on our apparatus, try to save as much money as possible. We have some guys that are very mechanically inclined, as well as our own cascade system. So.
Yeah, it looks like a fairly new cascade system too.
Yeah, that was, I think, came around the same time as when the rescue came, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Or maybe kind of that COVID area.
Right.
But yeah, that was something that they added so we can service ourselves here. You're not traveling to the next department or to a training center. You know, we've got it here and capable of filling.
It's good to have.
It's a segue to once we get to the rescue truck, but that has a small system on it as well, so we can fill it from our home base. So
awesome. All right, so the first truck we have here is?
So this is Squad 3, seats 6 members, 5-pack seats and your operator.
Okay.
It's a large tank, very powerful pump. I know a lot of older guys from the area seem to love that truck. It's a 1995.
Okay.
That's our main, like, if we're going to somewhere that's not hydrant, that's going to be the water supply.
So this is a tanker then?
No, it's not a tank. We use it as a attack engine if need be, but typically it's a second engine out on a fire.
Okay.
So that's going to set up as water supply. It's got a bigger pump. It's an old girl, but it's got
2,000 gallon per minute pump on the top.
Yeah,
nice labels from the old Pierce. Those are the old workhorses. I do remember a lot of those.
Oh yeah.
So over here we have an International, right?
Yep. So this is our tanker.
Okay.
That's, like I said, that one's probably the least gets out of the building the least until summer when people need their pools filled.
Okay.
That one, because we do have 2 large engines. We have a quite large area, surprisingly, that's hydrated still. So we're run off of that, and that's the last truck that gets filled typically, because you're not fighting fire when you're on that truck.
Right. Well, our travel up, you know, we travel along that river there. I'm sure, you know, people learn how to draft from those and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys that are capable of that. So, and it's pretty neat when, like I said, myself being new, watching people and it becomes so natural. It's awfully neat.
Okay.
All right, so the next piece here is kind of our new pride and joy.
Wow, this one's nice.
Yeah, 2022 Pierce Enforcer pumper.
Okay.
That's our main apparatus, main engine. Also a QRS vehicle, we have 3, but that's our main one out for most of our area, unless it's a small back road, mountainous hill road. Then maybe the utility goes out, but that's kind of the main piece out. It's a 1,000 gallon tank and a 2,000 GPM pump that runs off this.
Okay.
A lot of cool things on it. The main big deal with it, in my opinion, was back in 2022, before we received it, Pierce actually sent it down to FDIC as one of their
pride and joy pieces.
So
that's
kind of nice to know that sits in our house now.
Right. You know, the engines are, you know, the backbone of a lot of the fire companies. They do a lot of the suppression, that kind of stuff. Now, the truckies are going to say, hey, wait a minute, but we all know that, you know, these guys do that. You know, but I've had a lot of comments in our comment section about what makes an engine. And the big thing that makes an engine is putting the rotor rays back on them. You know, we got away from them for many years, but, you know, bring it back on. People really like to see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we have a member who calls it the firefighter's fidget spinner. But yeah. So that, like I said, that's our pride piece. Quite a bit of hose on it. We have 2 400-foot cross lays off the rear end, plus 2 200-foot cross lays in the behind the section.
So the area that you guys actually fight fire, are they longer driveways? Are they more rural or suburban? What would you classify it as?
Kind of a combination of all 3. Like, obviously we have our small town, and like we do RIT and other companies' towns, and just being small areas, we help other departments out. So we have a little bit of commercial, all the way to rural, all the way to, we have a big Amish population here, so you're talking everywhere in between. So those longer cross lays do come in effect. We actually used one for a drill at the local nursing home next town over, where it sat down and you had 100-foot before you even got into the building. If you have a 200-foot cross lay, you know, so. That
makes it a challenge for our fire department to figure out what kind of apparatus do we need, how do we need to set it up. You really got to think about all those different kind of things. Next one is this beautiful truck here. What do we got here?
So this is Rescue 3. This is our other pride and joy. This is a 2016 Pierce apparatus. This is our jack of all trades, but also master of a lot of trades too. I want to finish that statement. It does. We do everything from RIT, a little bit of truck work. Mentioned before, we have ladders, hooks, chainsaws, you know, to open up. So we use this as kind of a truck in a fire aspect, do search on it. So that's kind of the main goal of that thing. It's a workhorse. We've got our vehicle rescue stuff on it. Name something you're going to use in a fire. I bet you'll find it on here.
Okay.
On the top, we have different pieces of equipment, as well as some smaller things. Man-in machine, which is kind of focuses on stuck rings.
Okay.
Hand stuck in weird places.
Right,
it's got a combination of tools just for that.
I'm going to actually stop you here for just a little bit. So you guys that are viewing right now, and you're interested in taking a look at this truck, we're going to do a station rigs on this truck. We're going to go through this with fine detail and take a real good look at it. So pay attention. We're going to go do that again. Okay. All right, so we got one more piece of apparatus here, right?
Yeah.
This brings us to...
This is our utility. It's
Okay.
kind of all the EMS assist, tree down, wildfire. That's our wildfire piece, which is actually more common in this area than you would think.
Okay.
Road stoppage for snowstorm, whatever. That's kind of the piece that goes out for that.
You mentioned that you do EMS. Are you guys EMTs, first responders, paramedics? What do you guys run?
We run a QRS service, so we have a few EMTs on our roster.
Okay.
So just to supplement, our ambulance is one of the local departments that is paramedic. They're an ALS, where most of their departments are BLS.
Right.
So they might actually be out of town. Sometimes not. So we're kind of there as a backfill for, okay, we have EMTs, we can handle it until another local BLS ambulance company can get here to help out.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
It's a good way to serve the community.
Absolutely.
And we come back up to your bell, which is where I walked in at.
Yeah.
So Zach, thank you so much for taking us around. Before we end though, tell us one more time, where can we find you guys? If I was in the area, maybe I want to stop by. Is there a Facebook, Instagram? What do you got?
Yeah, so our Facebook is just Star Hose Company #1.
Okay.
You search it on there. We have our shield of our engine is a profile picture right now, and that's the main place you can contact there. We have a lot of members that are here constantly throughout the day that are willing to, ask for an application. We're still paper applications. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much
I
for
appreciate it.
bringing us around. This is an
you.
awesome house. Thank you all for watching. Once again, do us a favor, hit subscribe, hit notifications so we can keep bringing you more. Smash those like buttons, and do us one more favor. You got to make some comments below. We want to know what you guys think about a house like this. We're not all about the $3 million firehouses. We're also about the heroes next door, and that's what Star Hose Company is all about. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next week. No glasses.
No glasses.
Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we're doing another Station Cribs. We are in Port Allegany in north central Pennsylvania. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we are in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania, and we're looking at the Star Hose Company #3. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we're in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania, and we're looking at Star Hose Company #3. So let's go see what they have. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. Today on Station Cribs, we're in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania. We're doing the Star Hose Company #3. So let's go see what they have. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us for another Station Cribs. We are in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania, and we're going to take a look at the Star Hose Company #3. Let's go see what they have. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us for another Station Cribs. We are in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania. We're going to be taking a look at the Star Hose Company #3. So let's go see what they have. Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us for another Station Cribs. We're in Port Allegany, Pennsylvania. We're going to be taking a look at the Star Hose Company #1, Station #3. So let's go see what they have.